College football is the most wonderful time of the year. Don't believe the hype, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. It's getting crazy. And after just about a week and a half of football, man, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things. So today, I asked you guys for some hot takes. I asked you guys to predict FSU's season. And we're also going to see what Matt Great feels about this whole Florida situation. Look, I think there's a lot of teams to talk about, a lot of storylines to talk about, but it's obvious that the Florida Gators and Florida State Seminole Rolls are really not on the greatest track of things, right? These are two historic college football programs that produce NFL talent at clips that not many other programs see. So it's a consistency there. It's a heritage there. There's a lot of people riding and thinking about what goes on in Florida, and not to mention they're located in Florida. So they have one of the, hotbeds of some of the best recruiting in the entire United States. It's kind of confusing. You combine that with the transfer world portal, you transfer portal world, and you also combine that with FSU last being 13-0, going on their little run in the regular season. You kind of be scratching your head, all right? You can kind of be scratching your noggin, wondering why these two Florida teams are kind of floundering at the bottom of the barrel. So today we're going to address that. We're going to see how Matt feels about it. Like I said, we're going to see how y'all feel about it, Florida State Seminole specifically, and then we're going to be a little deeper into the overall hot takes coming into week 2. Let's get into it. Talk to us, Maddie. Talk to us, Maddie.
Mike Norvell's got to get the out. We need to get somebody in there.
Crazy times, man. Week 2 hasn't even started, and both of these fan bases, Florida and Florida State, want both of their head coaches fired and want to see quarter.
Florida State! What happened in the house to Mr. Boston College? Let's go! Florida State, you lost 0 wins, 2 losses, 2 losses. They lose every week because they don't show up. They don't show up every single time. They keep losing this year. Can I see Florida State losing again? What happened?
Okay, so we have some really interesting stuff to get into in today's video, and it involves two of the most talked about teams in all of college football, and it's not for a good reason: the Florida Gators and the Florida State Cinnamon Rolls. When I tell you they have some major drama that's ongoing, I don't know if that does it any justice. It is a dumpster fire, crap show, whatever word or phrase you want to throw in there at both of these programs currently. To give you some context on Florida, literally last night, and I'm sure some of you may have or may not have seen that video, we talked about how Billy Napier in a press conference called out and threw shade at his own fan base.
Now, this is about par for the course for an SEC coach with a little bit of fire under his arse. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna work great with the Florida lovelies there. I don't think that's what they're called. The Gators out there, they're not gonna be too fond about that, especially when you talk about impatient fan bases. Florida does not seem like one of those impatient fan bases because they've had all the chips. Now, they can be obnoxious, they can be crazy, they can be illogical, but I still feel like Florida fans every year come back with the, hey, maybe this year, hey, maybe this year, hey, maybe we can cook it this year. That's how I've seen interacting with them on Twitter, interacting with them, in the real life as well. Please, if you had a bad experience with a Florida fan, let me know. But with that being said, it's hard to get to that point and still be throwing your fans under the bus. Now, I will say it's probably better than what old what's it called, the Notre Dame coach, not Notre Dame coach, LSU coach Brian Kelly. What Brian Kelly does, throwing his quarterback under the old bus there. But it's still not going to be the great thing when those people are probably, and those boosters are within there feeding your NIL fund. And from the looks of it, it's looking like the NIL fund has got to be running dry with some pretty sad seasons and great players, great individual players that they send to the NFL. That's going to be the name of the game for both Florida and Florida State. But when it comes to relevancy in the actual college football landscape, we're far removed from both of these teams being top-tier programs. You know what I mean?
If you want to know my full thoughts and opinion on that, go watch the previous video. But to make a long story short, we know this. You know it. I shouldn't have to sit up here and say it again. That's the biggest cardinal sin as a head coach. You don't call out the people who are paying your salary. I thought it was an extremely low blow. You're a head coach, man. It comes with the territory. I saw a video on Twitter. I can't remember who was talking in it. I'm drawing a blank, but if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. And he said it perfectly. When you sign up to be a head coach, a broadcaster, a commentator, somebody who talks about sports on YouTube like we do on this channel and you watch other people do it as well, you are putting your work out there to the public to be criticized. And what drives me crazy and it has me baffled is it'd be different if he didn't deserve the criticism, but he does. Your team just completely laid over, lollygagged around, and act like they didn't even care.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like and I know this, they're saying that they're being patient, but, you know, who knows? But it really does feel like, hey, they've been on this ride. And as patient as college football fan bases can be, and which is not very patient at all, but more patient than I think most of that should be expected from most of these teams.
Week 1, it was a home game too. I don't want to go on another
At
Billy
home,
Napier rant, so let's get to move on. I share all that with you to get into this. There's been a lot of people clamoring and a lot of rumors swirling around. Let me clarify and say it again. Rumors, this isn't official, that he's already gone. And when I say gone, I mean he's not officially fired, but whenever this year's over, he's going to be gone. I've been following the situation extremely closely, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it. Do I believe that? I don't know. You know why I don't know? Because as bad as Billy Napier is, your AD isn't too much better. The worst part about it, and I feel so terribly sorry for Florida fans, is there's not going to be a solution anytime soon. And I tell you what, you want to know what the worst case scenario would be? If Napier actually pieced together this season, won some games they shouldn't win, and goes 8-4, 9-3.
Yeah.
I know what some of you are saying. Well, Matt, why would that be bad?
Matt, I'm gonna go ahead and stomp on your toes, your nice white Randy Moss toes that are probably bald. And I'm gonna let you know that you don't want to be stuck in the mediocrity cycle. That's what Matt's gonna talk about. Please watch Matt's full video. We don't watch people's full videos because I feel like that's a little content stealy. We're just reacting to some of his bigger points and major points. So when he says those things, right, you see that happening a lot of times in college football where you know, the patience can be kind of added on when you have somebody who keeps delivering, you know, the bare minimum, right? He keeps giving you to a not New York 6, but a bowl game, keeps getting you to 8 to 9 wins, right? If you scrimp that out and you squirt that out, which I don't think Florida, that sounds crazy, which I think Florida has a schedule to be able to do something like that theoretically. I mean, the way that they played, I have no idea. So when you have the ability to do something like that, I think that you know, it can put your team in a weird position, right? Because then you're gonna be the whole fan base is gonna be against this coach that they're gonna have to hope can also recruit great coming into the next year and get it set up. And I think there's nothing worse. If you want to get a coach gone, get him gone, right? There's nothing worse than having a coach like in this limbo, we don't know period, and then having him make decisions, be spiteful, look at other stuff, and then everyone's kind of, you know what I'm saying, like, it's not going to end well. Everybody's just pulling in different directions, and there's no real unity there. So let's kind of hear him talk a little bit about them cinnamon rolls real quick.
Is now exploring some other options at quarterback. As where it stands, he is still going to be your starter moving forward.
So we're talking about DJ Ugabadoogie, as he would call him. And obviously, the first game, he wasn't great. This game, he also wasn't great either against Boston College, but it really seemed like it was more of the team around him kind of imploding. The first game, it just seemed like he didn't want to make a play. This game, of course, he didn't want to make a play because he's DJ. But on top of that, his receivers weren't catching, the plays weren't explosive, and I feel like the play calling kind of was lacking in that. As much as we give DJ his a fair credit for not pushing the ball down the field, I mean, the most competent routes and the most amount of routes I've seen were all these comebacks, and that's something that you saw last year in Florida State's offense. It's a big reason. Go look it up. It's a big reason why Keon Coleman got graded the way he did at being or having no separation, not being a good route runner. Those tags and stigmas that he'd have, and maybe he isn't. Maybe, I mean, we're gonna have to see in the NFL. But the reason why he had those stigmas about him and still was this 6'3", 6'4" monster of an athlete who can jump out the gym is because he was running curl routes as the X every single time. He was running comeback, right? It was just end breakers, out breakers. Like, it wasn't anything that could really stretch the field. They weren't putting him on post. They weren't putting him deep down the field. So we have to understand that and kind of give him, his fair share. But I really thought he was going to get benched, DJ, after coming out the half at Boston College, because it was just like there was just nothing there, dog. It wasn't even, like I said, I don't even think sometimes you bench a quarterback just to spark your team, not because the quarterback is bad and because he's the negative. Not like I gotta get somebody hungry in here, dog. Like if everybody's gonna sit there with their face down and you're an IL guy making big quick trip 7-Eleven racetrack, I don't know, gas station money. Y'all saw the commercial. Don't come at me. I can't. I'm not gonna expect you to be able to light this fire right now because you ain't done nothing the whole season. I mean that whole game so far. It was looking abysmal. But let's hear.
But they're
him
now
talk
at
about
least looking at the backups like Brock Glenn. It's also somewhat of good timing because for those of you who don't know, Florida State does have a bye week before they play Memphis, and that is not going to be an easy game. Memphis is a solid ball club. I've made some phone calls to a couple of my different sources around that Florida State football program, and they're not labeling it as a quarterback competition. But what they are telling me is Brock Glenn is getting more of a chance than he was getting 2 weeks ago. Another incentive as to why they're looking at Brock Glenn is because he might be the future. Uyunglele, no matter what happens in the remainder of this season, he's not going to be there after the year. The season's already over,
and that's really what makes this whole situation even weirder, right? Because you got DJ you basically on loan, right? You know, if to my football, I mean not football, football, to my soccer or watching guys or FIFA playing guys, he's basically on loan, right? He wants to get his year, put his tape out there with a potentially elite a program so he can go to the next step and go to the NFL. Now, what has happened, of course, is that he's shown himself to be just a mediocre college quarterback, and mediocre college quarterbacks can't really do much in the NFL. DJ doesn't do anything very remarkably coming out. And then you've got, which this story is crazy. They Florida is talking about going ahead and putting DJ Lagway in the game as well. There's a lot of weird quarterback controversy situations here. DJ Lagway is the 7+ star, 5+ star guy who's supposed to be like the biggest, baddest, greatest quarterback of all time coming into Florida. Graham Mertz is again, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't think is a bad quarterback, but both of these teams have their back against the wall, and both of these teams are going to have to make a decision that can spark their offense and spark their team. And I think something like that can be effective, switching up the quarterbacks, especially when we don't have much to lose, Florida State. We don't have much to lose, Florida. We got a lot to gain if we can kind of turn things around, though. So let's get up out of here, y'all. Make sure y'all watch Matt Be Great, all his video, because he does make great videos. Now, I asked you guys for some hot takes. We're about to enter week 2. I thought this is a pretty hilarious time to go ahead and talk about y'all's hot takes, see how they've aged, see how they've come together, and we'll go from there. Let's zoom this in just a tad bit so you can see what's happening. Can you see what's happening? All right. It says Amarion Hampton be toting that rock. That is the wide receiver out of NC State. He wears a 10 on his back. Be on the lookout for him. Top 10 match or top 25 matchup. I believe it's him. NC State versus not Clemson, is it? But NC State is playing another ranked team. They're gonna have a showdown there. So I'm happy to see what they get cooking there. Amarion Hampton is one of those guys, one of those new stars. I love this season that there's so many it happens every season, but I feel like this is the earliest that we've identified so many stars. You know what I'm saying? We got obviously the Travises and the Shadors and the Jimmy Horns of the world. We've got the Gentry kid out in Boise State, if I said his name. We got Amarion Hampton. You got the quarterback for Boston College. I mean, I can keep going. Riley Leonard. Some people would say like Ryan Williams, homie out of University of Alabama. There's so many different fun storylines, fun players, fun things. And I think Amarion Hampton is going to be another one of those electrifying guys. Luther Burton. Oklahoma Sooners winning it all this year. Hey, I asked for hot takes. This one's hot. It's not happening. The U in his. Oh, we were talking about. Yeah, DJ needs to. Yeah. Anyway, Ole Miss will win the SEC. Flaming hot. I don't believe in Ole Miss. Maybe I need to watch some more film. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a great team. Do I think they're going to win the SEC when Alabama and Georgia is swinging their dicks around? I don't think so. I don't see it. Kansas go undefeated in the regular season. Yikes. Colorado was making a dynasty till Sanders leaves head coach. I don't know what the team that gets left out of the playoff at 12 for the G5 champ is going to. Okay, that's not a hot take it out. Travis will sit out the rest of the season to protect himself. If it gets nasty, if this Nebraska game gets nasty, we might see it. The Iowa Hawkeyes are making the playoffs. That's a hot take right there, boy. Travis Hunter is the best college football player ever. That's a hot take. These are hot takes. Nebraska won't sell most of the time. We'll see this weekend. I feel like the offensive – okay, you're talking about DJ. Wyoming will come back after a rough week 1. Oregon wins the Natty. That's going to be hard when y'all are struggling against the Spuds. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your hot takes. Get in the comments and tell me your predictions and hot takes for college football week 2. We're going to have another post like this. I'm going to ask more about that, so comment under that. We're going to do this weekly. Y'all be amazing. Y'all be great. We'll see you next time. Peace.